everyone, I'm here to talk about the third boss in Throne of Thunder, which is the Council of Elders. And with this fight we'll need 2 tanks, 2 to 3 healers and 5 to 6 DPS. Just a side note that with this fight, most council fights we've encountered in the past will share a health pool, but they don't in this one, so I can't stress enough, they have individual health pools. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Empower, which happens to each troll in turn. When a troll is empowered, he will gain extra abilities and a power bar that will steadily go up. To end the empowerment, we'll need to DPS 25% of the health off the boss. If we take too long and the bar fills up, the boss will start to do raid-wide damage, which will wipe us after 10 seconds or so we need to make sure that we DPS it down ASAP. With empowerment, after it's over, the troll will gain a buff, which is 10% more damage. Now this can stack, so every time a troll is empowered, on the second time it will be 20% and then 30% and be just like that. Okay, the first troll I'm going to talk to you about is Zul, the Sandcrawler, and with him he will need to be tanked, and the tank that's got him will need to interrupt as many sand bolts as they can. He will also apply quicksand, which will put little sand traps on the floor, a quicksand where when you're in them they will cause damage to you and they will make you move slower, so you need to get out of them straight away. When this boss is empowered, all the sand traps will actually turn into adds. They will look like little elemental adds that we'll need to DPS ASAP. Now these don't need to be tanked because they cause a small amount of melee damage, we need to make sure we DPS them straight away. The reason this is because while he's empowered he will cast Sandstorm again, and when he does that, if the original first wave of adds aren't dead, then the ones that are still alive will do double the amount of damage and also go back to 100% health, which will most likely cause a wipe or cause a lot of hassle. So I can't stress enough, as soon as he casts Sandstorm first, we need to kill off all those little adds before we cast it again, and then we'll deal with the second wave of adds, and then there should only be 2. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk to you about is High Priestess Marley, and this one will also need to be tanked, and the tank that's got her will have to interrupt as many Wrath of Lower as they can. The other thing that she does is she summons Blessed Lower Spirits, which will go towards another troll. We need to make sure that we kill these ASAP. They can be rooted, stunned and slowed. The reason for this is because if they get to the other troll, they'll heal them up for 10%, and also if they're out for more than 20 seconds, they will heal that boss anyway, so they need to be DPS'd ASAP. When this one's empowered, those will turn into shadowy lower spirits, and they will go towards random raid members. That raid member needs to make sure that they get away, and everyone else needs to make sure that they DPS it ASAP. These can also be stunned, rooted or slowed. The reason for this is because if it gets to our raid member, they will die, or if it gets to even 6 yards within the raid member, they will die. So both of the spirits that she summons need to die ASAP. The third troll I'm going to talk about is Frost King Malak, and with him he must be tanked, but he will apply Frigid Assault to the tank that he's on. When this gets to 15, it will stun the tank, so we need to make sure that the tanks are swapping before it gets to 15, or they will be stunned. The next ability he does, which is to the raid, is Biting Cold. This will apply a debuff to you, which will start pulsing frost damage every 2 seconds for 30 seconds, and will cause damage to anyone around you within 4 yards, so you need to make sure that you're not standing near anybody. But when this boss is empowered, he will do Frostbite, which will look the same, which will be a debuff on you, which will cast frost damage, but we need to make sure that we'll have raid members standing next to you to share the damage. Now how we're going to deal with this is that we're going to set up teams. We're going to have 2 people that are going to be the primary people to stand next to someone, and then we're going to have a reserve just in case one of the 2 people get Frostbite. So what will happen is that our raid member will get Frostbite, and one of our primary people we've chosen will go stand next to you, the 2. Or if one of the primary people get it, then the reserve and the other one will stand next to you, and that is how we will deal with it to share the damage. And the last one I'm going to talk to you about is Kaz'rajin. This one doesn't need to be tanked, and he'll go around charging random raid members, causing them to be knocked back and cause damage to them. When he's empowered, he'll charge around as normal, but after each charge, he will cast Overload. This will stun him for 20 seconds. While he's stunned, he will deal 25% of the damage dealt to him back to the individual player. Think of it as the Spirit King's boss, where when he's in cowardice stance, we'll get the damage dealt with us back like a effective shield. So just beware that the damage will be flying back at you, 25% of it innate damage. But don't worry, because we are going to just heal through this. Just wanted everyone to know that there will be more damage flying about, but the healers more, we're going to just heal through this. So now I'm going to tell you how we're going to deal with this fight. As we know, Zul and Marley will need to be tanked. So they're going to be tanked apart from each other in the room, making sure that they are in taunt range so that they can taunt Malak between each other. The rest of the raid will stand pretty spread out. and the melee DPS will concentrate on the empowered target. So they will move from the empowered target, making sure that they DPS it down 25% before the bar reaches 100. The range is basically going to concentrate on Kaz'rajin. The reason for this is because Kaz'rajin should then be most of the time at the lowest health and then get the least amount of empowerments. Hopefully this works, but that's how we're going to do it. Of course, there are ad priorities there, so you need to make sure that we're swapping to kill the sand ads, that we're killing the blessed spirits and the shadowy spirits, and there's just make sure that we go in the ads. But when there's no ads up, the melee you're going to concentrate on the empowered, and the range is going to concentrate on Kaz'rajin, and that's how we're going to do it. So this fight shouldn't be too complicated. It's about execution and about making sure that we DPS in the right places and are quite urgent on the ads. It will take some getting used to, but I'm sure that we'll do fine. So it will be erratic damage, and we'll need to make sure that we pay attention. But as I keep saying, offensive and defensive, and we can do this. So hopefully this has helped, guys. See you.